Hi friends, today we're talking about strict pull-ups. So a few tips and tricks to how to get your first strict pull-up or just how to build on if you already have a few strict pull-ups. So the very first thing we'll talk about is how you want to hold the bar. So if you look at where my hand is on the pull-up bar, what you want to do is rather than hanging with your fingertips, you want to try and get your knuckles on top of the pull-up bar. So that's going to allow you to A, have a better grip on the bar, and B, it's going to let you press down into the bar. So instead of having to try and pull yourself up, you're actually pressing down. So that's just going to engage these nice big lat muscles here, which will help with your strict pull-ups. The other thing you want to make sure you're doing is wrapping your thumb around the bar. So rather than having your thumb on top of the bar like this, if you wrap your thumb underneath, that's going to allow you to think about twisting the bar this way. And so when you twist that way again, you're just engaging these muscles, which will make the pull a lot easier. So now that we've established the grip for the pull-up, what you want to do is the very beginning, if you can't do a strict pull-up yet, or even if you can, is just building time in that position. So if you find a bar that you can kind of almost reach, but you have to do a slight jump to just so your feet are off the floor, that would be ideal. And we can just build in holding that position. So knuckles are on top, you're twisting through, and then you're just making a bit of space between your shoulders and your ears. So you don't want your shoulders touching your ears, you want a little bit of space there. You can just kind of keep your feet slightly in front of you and your core nice and tight. And we can build in increments. So you can do like a Tabata that's 10 seconds of work and 20 seconds of rest for 8 rounds. So you're hanging for 10 seconds, resting for 20. Once you feel comfortable there, you can go 15 on and 15 off. And then you can build to 20 seconds holding, 10 seconds rest. For our next piece, we can work on the scat pull-up. So you're going from that dead hang where your ears are by your shoulders, and then you're just pulling down to an active position, which is where you want to start your strict pull-up from. So you can just build up, maybe start off with 2 or 3 sets of 5, build up to 5 sets of 5, just making sure that you can get into an active position before you're pulling. So it just looks like this. Our next step is going to be a static hold at the top into a slow descend. So you don't have to hold for too long, but try and think about a 1 second pause at the top and then 3 to 5 seconds on the way down. I would start off with 3 seconds on the way down, maybe build to 5 seconds. You don't want to be holding for too long. So you can use a box to jump up to the starting position, and then once your chin's over the bar, 1 second hold. And then 1, 2, 3, and negative. So I would work through 3 sets of that, anywhere from 1 to 3 reps. You definitely don't want to overdo the negative holds, but just a few, you'll really feel it in your arms and in your lats. The next option is a strict banded pull-up. So you want to think about the same thing that you would with a regular strict pull-up. Rather than letting your elbows go forward the whole time, try and pull your elbows back and down. That's going to engage your bigger muscles and it'll just make the movement feel a lot easier. So if you have a pull-up bar that's mounted on the wall with no rig attached to it, you'll want to hang your bands vertically like this. And then the way you would progress would be starting off with a thicker band, and then you can go to thinner bands like these. If you need to, you can put 2 bands, or thick and thin, and then just slowly chip away with the bands. But if your pull-up bar is part of your rig, a nice thing, especially with a rogue rig, is that the spacing on the holes is 1 inch when you're higher up. So the higher you go, the easier it would be. And then as you move down, it switches to 1/2 inch increments. And so that allows you to, obviously the lower it is, the harder it would be. So that will allow you to take smaller steps when you progress. And that movement looks like this. So you have a box here just so you can step up, hands go on the bar first, and then you'll step onto your band. And then from here, thinking elbows back and down, pressing into the pull-up bar, and coming down. And then make sure you step back onto your box to get off. The only other tip or trick is make sure that you have the metal piece on the outside for your J cup. If it's on the inside, the hook will just like flip in. So you'll know pretty quickly, but make sure the metal pieces are on the outside so they're getting pulled into the rig. You want to try and find a band or a band height or a band width that allows you to get about 8 to 12 reps in a row. So think about maybe 3 sets of 8 to 12 and you can rest as much as you need in between those sets. Our final tip is going to be doing a lat pull down, and all you'll need for that is a band attached to your pull-up bar and a PVC pipe. You can also use a broom handle or anything like that, but what you're going to do is put the PVC pipe through the band, and then you'll just sit down on the floor. And from here, you want to get into that same spot with your knuckles on top, thumbs wrapped, bending the bar, engage through, and then we're just going to pull down like you would for your strict pull-up. So elbows going back, try and keep your core nice and tight so you don't want to be leaning back when you're pulling. And for that one, if you need to adjust it, so you want to be looking for 2 to 3 sets again, as much rest as you need in between your sets, but we want to get about 20 to 30 reps, so higher volume there. And so if you need to make it a bit easier, and you don't have the option of going to a thinner band, you can raise yourself off the floor. So if you put a few plates or a small box underneath you, it'll just make it a little bit easier to pull. Our final one is these strict pull-ups. So using all those tips and tricks, I like to do 2 different options. So I'll either do 5 sets of 5 strict pull-ups, and I usually try and make that a chest to bar pull-up, or I'll do 3 sets of my first 2 rounds are close to max effort pull-ups, but I drop off with like 1 or 2 reps before I hit my max effort. I take a set 1-minute rest, and then on my 3rd set, I just do as many as I can. By the time you hit your 3rd set, it's really hard to get a max set in, so you can go to failure on that set. So those are my 2 favorite ways to build capacity in your strict pull-ups. And the strict pull-up, we'll just go over one more time. So you'll have knuckles on top, thumb wrap, think about bending the bar, and then pressing into the bar. So rather than you're pulling, you're pressing down the whole time. And we'll keep our feet slightly in front of us and our core engaged. I hope those help. Give them a try. If you have any questions, make sure you comment down below. If you want to send me a video, if you have any questions, my Instagram is the same as my YouTube, so it's Kobe Storm Roberts. So feel free to send me a message on Instagram. I'll be happy to take a look at your videos, and best of luck with your strict pull-ups.